What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, SpazPhoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with two different topics in one video for you guys. Here today in this video, I'm going to be talking about the rumors of some superstars that may be jumping ship from Impact Wrestling to the WWE, and things that I think we may see or may want to see, or that I would like to see at the fast approaching No Way Out pay-per-view. First of all, rumors. People leaving TNA, people potentially leaving TNA, and, you know, hopes, wishes, desires, and rumors that they may be jumping ship to WWE, and my thoughts. First one is the most controversial, I'll bet, and this is where everybody in the YWC will moan and groan because they hold too much of a gripe and they hold too much of a grudge. The first is Ric Flair. Now, a lot of people say, he should retire, da-da-da-da-da. He's already got 2 Hall of Fame rings. Is he sticking around? He's sopping up too much of the attention from everybody else. I don't want Ric Flair to come to the WWE in a competitor capacity. But the guy has got friggin' a resume and a history and a career a mile long. The contributions he could make outside of actually competing in the ring are monstrous. The push that any young star would get but from being, you know, quote-unquote managed by Ric Flair. If Ric Flair comes down and he is in your corner in a manager, you know, mentor, role model type capacity, would be instant heat behind any new star coming in today. And there's a lot of people these days, you know, promo work is a lost art, except for people like Jericho, people like The Rock, people like Punk, and if you want to go to the extreme other direction, people like Cena. There's a lot of people out there that just can't hold the mic and have no business holding a mic as far as their promo skills go. You get a manager like Ric fucking Flair, you will have people jacked up before the bell even rings. There's my thing for Ric Flair. If not, he could be involved in training. He could be involved in sort of FCW, behind the scenes, whatever. He could be involved in, you know, superstars, developmental, all that sort of thing. He's got a wealth of knowledge to offer to the next generation. There's no reason to not do it just because people are a bit butthurt that he, you know, went into the Hall of Fame and then went to TNA. He did some good shit in TNA. He managed AJ Styles. He formed Fortune, you know, in tribute to the Four Horsemen, which I thought was great. He had a great last man standing match with Mick Foley, for lack of a better term. It wasn't a 5-star classic, but it was a very, very fun match to watch. So this guy still has something to offer, and his young family is coming up in the business. When WCW was taken over by WWF and then WWE, I was really hoping at one point or another, if we could get a hardcore division back, that we would get somebody like a David Flair. Because David Flair and Crowbar and Psycho Daphne in WCW were good shit. Imagine Ric Flair as part of the creative team. Ric Flair's been around long enough to know what works and what doesn't. He has worked for, what, 20, 30 years? Something like that. He could have so much to offer, and I think the people that immediately dismiss the possible return of Ric Flair are either very, very biased or very, very short-sighted indeed. If Ric Flair comes back to the WWE in any capacity, I will be excited, because people say to me, why are you a fan of Ric Flair? Why are you cheering him in TNA? He left. He did the Hall of Fame. He was supposed to be done. Understand something. Well before Ric Flair retired, well before he went into the Hall of Fame, and well before he went to TNA, Ric Flair had already reached that certain precipice, with me. It's one of those things where this is how I'm going to remember Ric Flair forever. No matter what he does from here on in, no matter what he does, I don't care if he goes in and has, you know, jobber matches with Eugene from now until the moment that he's in the grave. The guy has my respect for life. The people like Piper, people like Austin, people like The Undertaker, people like Hogan. You know, everybody's going to shit on me for, you know, sticking up for Hogan too, but you cannot deny contributions to the wrestling industry. Whether you agree with everything they've done outside the ring, whether you agree with their politics and the bullshit, is irrelevant. Their contributions are there, and the respect is deserved. Moving on. Matt Morgan. Now here's an interesting one, because I didn't give Matt Morgan the time of day, and you guys know if I get to a star that I did not give proper respect to in the beginning and I turned around in the end, I will try to give them the respect that they deserve. Now stop beeping at me, I'm doing a video. Matt Morgan is a great big man, and right now for big men in the WWE we have the Big Slow and Great Khali, who looks like he's in pain just walking, and jobs to the trip to the ring. If we had somebody legitimate like Matt Morgan come back to the WWE, who's fast for his size, who's athletic and agile for his size, and has a lot to offer as far as, you know, whether you want to call it a super heavyweight division or whatever, my immediate thought when I heard that Matt Morgan was being released and possibly coming back to WWE, he would be a great legitimizer for somebody like Ryback. Somebody that Ryback could stand face to face with, or maybe even look up to a little bit and then destroy. There's a legitimate mountain you can climb. I was happy when he fought Camacho, only because he's finally facing an opponent that he could look in the eye. Imagine if he had to look up into the eyes of somebody and still destroyed them. You know, yes, it's still very, very much a Goldberg build. I like the similarities between Ryback and Goldberg. Matt Morgan could be another mountain for him to topple, which would be amazing. Alex Shelley. This one surprised even me. Alex Shelley is one of the jewels of the X Division in TNA. He'd be a great addition to the roster because he'd be a great guy to have to go against guys like Justin Gabriel, who, if anybody saw my Second Tier Fave 5 video, has a very prominent spot there. I think either a teaming or a rivalry between Gabriel and Shelley would be absolutely phenomenal. It's still sad because they don't have any specified lightweight division like TNA has, but it would be a start. Bring back Evan Bourne when his personal issues are done. There's a great three-way rivalry right there. There's a three-way rivalry. I will go as far as to say, for the TNA fans that are out there, you all know about the X Division rivalry between Daniels, Styles, and Samoa Joe. Now, you get a rivalry between Bourne, Gabriel, and Shelley. It could be just as phenomenal if given the proper time and the opportunity to show it. There we go. The last one, and the one that makes me the most excited and yet the most nervous. Samoa Joe is apparently almost done with TNA. And this is, like I say, all of these are rumors, and this is the one that I tend to believe the least. Samoa Joe doesn't look like anything WWE has right now, doesn't fight like anything WWE has right now. So it would be quite a double-edged sword if Samoa Joe came to the WWE. I'd be happy for him because he's come up to a bigger stage and I think he deserves it. I'd be happy because I'm a huge, huge Samoa Joe fan. If I wasn't already a Samoa Joe fan, the matches and rivalries that he's had with Kurt Angle would have only put a punctuation point on that. My biggest problem would be if he came to WWE, I don't know that WWE would know what to do with him. And that's a legitimate concern. Now, supposedly I hear through the grapevine that he's buddies with CM Punk and John Cena. As much as anything else, I don't know what to make of that. But if you're buddies with Cena, I'm sure that might get you somewhere. I don't know how WWE would use Samoa Joe properly, but I would mark intensely for the potential to see Samoa Joe in a WWE ring on that huge worldwide stage. I really, really would. But then again, there's people that I wish WWE would take back, like Kurt Angle, like Mr. Anderson, like Jeff Hardy, etc., etc., etc. So, you know, every time TNA makes an acquisition of a former WWE star, it's a huge thing for them. But what people don't realize, even though WWE may be the bigger company, there are some acquisitions that they could make from TNA that would be big for them as well. Now, if you got somebody like I'm just going to toss him out right now because he's the champion. If you had somebody like Bobby Roode retire from TNA and walk across the WWE stage, he could make phenomenal impact. My main focus there, I would love to see Bobby Roode versus Triple H. And that's just the way it is. I would love to see, you know, Cowboy James Storm against CM Punk. I would love to... You know, it's not a TNA reference really at all, but I would love to see Raven come and have a decent run. But now I'm just getting into fantasy booking, and apparently I'm not very good at that. So let's stick with these are the rumors that I've heard. These are my reactions to them. please, for the love of God, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you think I need to be strapped in and held off to the loony bin, please tell me what you think of these rumors and the potential, if these rumors are true, for the WWE in the future. I've also heard that WWE is creating a totally separate cruiserweight show for their network. And if that's the case, most of my worries about guys like Sin Cara, Gabriel, Evan Bourne, potentially Alex Shelley, would be abated. I just hope they have a title to go with it, if that is true. Now, No Way Out. This is the first time we've had a No Way Out pay-per-view that was named No Way Out in about 3 years, I believe. Because No Way Out was what Elimination Chamber used to be called before they just decided to be lame and call it the Elimination Chamber. People talk about pay-per-views and they talk about the build. And when I did my video with Dalyxman, we joked around about it a lot. You know, it's all about the build. But they've done with No Way Out is they've set wheels in motion right on the heels, right immediately on the heels of what the hell was the last pay-per-view? Over the Limit. They've immediately set into motion pretty much all the matches that are going to be at No Way Out. The only one that's actually officially announced, John Cena versus The Big Show. Now, again, like with everything else, I waffle on this because there are things I love about this and there are things that I hate about this. You know, John Cena's got a main event match which is going to push WWE title way down the card, which is always, always, always ridiculous. I have questionable feelings about how they're booking John Cena right now because, you know, they let him go over Lesnar, but I got my scalp at WrestleMania because The Rock beat him. And then, you know, Johnny Laryngitis, Mr. Excitement, Mr. People Power, got his super shady victory on him and Over the Limit. He's showing chinks in his armor, especially when he lost to Lord Tensai. So a lot of the issues that I had in some of my videos, if you've seen Cenapocalypse 1 or Cenapocalypse 2 on this channel, or the rant that myself and Angela did, quick shout out to her. Everybody go check out TheOrtonStorm. Subscribe to her. She doesn't have nearly enough subscribers. Go do it right now. A lot of the things that I brought up in those videos are slowly being chipped away, and that's cool. I even will go as far as to say John Cena tried to be angry this week on Raw. I didn't buy it, personally, because it's going to take a lot from Cena to impress me at this point, and I'm willing to admit that. But there are strides being made. I don't mind where Cena is right now, other than the fact that his presence pushes down the WWE Championship. But he's going to go up against the Big Show, and if this had happened a month ago, I would have hated it. Because, you know, friggin' happy-go-lucky, jolly green giant Big Show pisses me off. I don't like that the Big Show is associated with Laurinaitis, but at least him being associated with Laurinaitis has brought back, you know, pissed-off monster, I'm going to destroy everything Big Show. And that's the Big Show we need. I happen to know just in conversation that another well-respected friend of mine here in the YWC, Dalyxman, one of the Horsemen, is currently working on some stuff to do with Batista and people's opinions on Batista. And my opinion on the Big Show, everybody go sub to Dalyxman too, obviously. But my opinions on Batista are very, very similar to my opinions of the Big Show. Big, giant destroyers of worlds shouldn't be good guys. And pissed off Big Show works. If you need any proof of that, look at Raw this week. Now, I like that. I like the whole, you know, circle of life, if you want to be super corny, circle of life element. You know, look at John Cena's WrestleMania history. The very first title he won, the very first WrestleMania he was at, was against the Big Show, and here they are at it again. And so from a historical perspective, I can kind of appreciate it. What I don't like is what I didn't like at Over the Limit. I hate boss storylines. So depending on how you want to look at it, John Cena is facing the Big Show, but the Big Show isn't really the Big Show. The Big Show is just an extension of John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis is throwing rocks at John Cena. One of them happens to be named the Big Show and be 7 feet tall, 500 and whatever pounds. Do I think it'll be a good match? Possibly. You know, Cena is a glorified brawler, and Big Show is a giant, so he's basically a brawler. So it's going to be a brawl. There's nothing else to be said about it. I mean, the only technical thing John Cena does is a very, very weakly applied STF. If you don't believe me that it's weak, John Laurinaitis, who's not a wrestler, sat in it for 20 seconds and didn't tap. Moving on. So, yeah, they're just going to be like two awkward boulders. They're going to run into each other for a while, and eventually one of them's going to win. I don't see this being a regular match. I see this being another, you know, no-holds-barred, Extreme Rules, hardcore, whatever you want to call it, to emphasize the fact that there are no rules, because I'm sure John Laurinaitis will have Lord Tensai or Otunga or somebody like that interfere, as if Big Show needs it. It'll be a clusterfuck. It'll be what happens after all the good wrestling on the card is done. There we go. Jericho versus Orton, the first salvo for this one-on-one competition, happened on Raw this week after Orton's match with, I believe, Alberto Del Rio. Multiple code breakers to Orton, multiple, you know, psycho Jericho screaming in his face, "I'm the best in the world, da 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 da." This is only going to lead to a match. And with the rumors that Jericho's leaving soon, if his last match on pay-per-view is a match against Orton, that doesn't hurt my feelings in the slightest. Big shout out to Kara, Emo Kitty Cat, biggest Jerichoholic I know. Everybody go sub to her as well. This match will be great. This match will be the good equivalent on SmackDown of what John Cena has been doing for years. I've always said John Cena, when he's not in the title picture, has these matches that are kind of above the title, and it's ridiculous. This is a match that will kind of exist above the title match on SmackDown, but it's okay, because I think I'm pretty much the only person excited about the World Heavyweight Championship match coming to us our way at No Way Out. You got two veterans in Jericho and Orton that we know can put on an amazing show. They both sell. They've both got the ring psychology. They've both got the heritage and all that sort of thing, especially if you look at Orton being third generation and all that sort of thing, and Jericho coming from Canada, coming from the Hart Dungeon. There's all kinds of history and tradition and good wrestling stuff there. It doesn't need a title to make it great. And to keep Jericho in the title picture when he's going to leave soon, honestly, is unfair to the rest of the superstars on SmackDown, even though last Raw, all 4 major titles were represented in instances on Raw, so I don't know where all the titles are technically supposed to sit right now. Del Rio versus Sheamus. Now, nobody likes Sheamus right now because he screwed over Daniel Bryan. This is the popular opinion. Nobody likes Del Rio because he sucks. Da-da-da-da-da. His thing is stale. His, you know, his gimmick is stale. His ring announcer is more, you know, enthusiastic than he is, and we'd rather see his ring announcer wrestle than him. Here's the thing. I know Ricardo Rodriguez has wrestled in other companies, but kayfabe, storyline, whatever you want to call it wise, in the WWE, he's an announcer. He is an announcer. He is hired by Alberto Del Rio to announce him to the ring in Spanish, to take some bumps while he tries to defend his boss and do the Spanish stuff. Del Rio versus Sheamus has to happen, because before Daniel Bryan got his rematch at Extreme Rules, Alberto Del Rio did have a match where it was established that he was the #1 contender, and he never got that one-on-one shot. He was robbed of that when Jericho and Orton... Sorry guys, my chair is squeaking, but whatever. When Jericho and Orton were added to the title match at Over the Limit and made a fatal 4-way, he was robbed of his earned one-on-one title shot. Add to that the fact that everything that I said would happen at Over the Limit did happen, and Alberto Del Rio, whether any of the haters like to admit it or not, had a few prolonged periods of great-looking dominance against the other 3 guys he was in the ring with in the Fatal 4-Way match. Now, there's a lot of people out there that want to say no, that went into that match thinking, no, Del Rio sucks and I'm not going to give him the time of day. But if you look at it through optimistic eyes, like you look at the people you maybe like a little more than him, you would see that those moments were there, and he at least deserves one-on-one title shot. I mean, if we can do it for Cena, we can do it for anybody. Anyways, so this is going to happen once. I don't think WWE is going to put too much build into this, seeing as how nobody really is on the Del Rio bandwagon, and he's a heel. No, everybody in the crowd is basically treating Sheamus like a heel most of the time because they're more sympathetic to Daniel Bryan. So I think this is just going to be a throwaway match anyway. So if you're going to complain about this match, complain about it, but it's going to happen, and it's going to be tossed off, and then both guys are going to go do whatever. So it's not that big a deal in the long run. Bryan Punk 2, we know this is going to happen. Everybody knew that at Over the Limit, Bryan versus Punk was going to be the main event, regardless of what Cena did. And it was. It delivered everything that the words Bryan versus Punk promise, and 10 times more. Now, everybody's immediate thought is, okay, the next one has to be, you know, a hardcore match. The next one has to be a cage match or a Hell in a Cell. The next one has to be a no disqualification, submission, da-da-da-da. No, it doesn't. Because the thing is, these two guys, more than anybody else in the WWE, are the guys that don't need anything else. They don't need a big, long, and prolonged bullshit kayfabe storyline to sell the match. They don't need the controversy of AJ's involvement, which is why we didn't even see AJ in this match. They don't need weapons. They don't need, how do you want to say, a new stipulation or a new twist or a new, you know, something thrown in there to make it great. They did enough on their matches on Raw, in their matches in ROH, for those of you out there that have seen them, for those of you out there that have seen them work the independents, etc., to what they did on Raw, to what they did just this past Sunday at Over the Limit. They've done enough to prove that they don't need anything else other than a ring and some time to put on a great match. Now, is this going to become a larger stipulation match somewhere along the way? Would I like to see this rivalry cap off with something like a Last Man Standing or an Iron Man match, or, you know, hand on heart, looking up in the sky, submission match? Absolutely. But don't jump the gun on it. Because right now, you can have these guys have a series of regular matches, and that will be not just good enough, that will be great enough that when you do throw in another stipulation, you're going to have this big long list of feud and controversy and, you know, conflict to go on, and you can put together a huge video package. Look at all the conflict they've had now. Now imagine these guys having an Iron Man match. If they do it now, it's like, okay, they did this in one match, now they're going to have a longer match next month. Don't jump the gun on it. Let this one grow slowly, because it can. Let Bryan and Punk, you know, the captains of my Fave 5 tiers 1 and 2, go at it and do what they do. Don't try to water it down. Don't try to PG it. Don't try to WWE it up. Let these guys that know each other better than anybody else in the current product probably go out and do what they do. Because you see what happens when you do. When you let them go out and do what they do, you get a Match of the Year candidate in May. In May of the year, we already have what could probably be considered the Match of the Year candidate. We're not even halfway through the year yet. What else can you ask for? WWE, it's easy. Give them the ring and the time, and they'll do it. That's all. You don't have to tweak it. You don't have to change it. You don't have to overthink it. Just do it. Alright. We have a new Intercontinental Champion in Christian. Here's the big question for me. First of all, welcome back, Christian. I'm glad to see him back. I'm glad to see him get a lower card title, because it means he's going to get a slower build than just slapping the world title on him, which didn't work at all. To have him go over guy like Cody Rhodes, who is doing fantastic with the Intercontinental Championship, gives me hope, because as I said in my review, you know, Rhodes has to go up from here. Rhodes has to at least break through and see some of that main event title picture. He has to. Or else people are going to not lose faith in him because he's a great superstar. That I'm not debating that in the slightest. But lose faith in the WWE using him properly. I hate to say it, but look at what they're doing with Ziggler. You know, Royal Rumble, he was a convincing WWE title contender. And now he's, you know, jobbing to Brodus Clay because he can sell well. Because he's, you know, the third guy on the team in some bullshit lumberjack match. Whatever the case may be, don't do what you've done to Ziggler to Rhodes. let him have his rematch with Christian to sort of cap that off and solidify Christian as the new Intercontinental Champion. That's fine, that's wonderful. And then push him forward. Now, immediately for No Way Out, there's one of two things that are going to happen. Either they're going to have a rematch for the belt, or the rumors are true and Cody Rhodes is actually taking some time off to take care of himself and deal with some kind of lagging injury or ailment that he's got. And if he's taking a break and he's going to come back better than ever in a month or 2 or 3, whatever, no problem with that whatsoever. I don't begrudge him the time. I don't begrudge him the break and the chance to breathe, because he's done exactly what he said he was going to do. He resurrected that Intercontinental Championship. If it wasn't for Cody Rhodes, Christian winning the Intercontinental Championship wouldn't mean anything. Let me put it to you that way. So either we're going to see a rematch of Christian versus Cody Rhodes at No Way Out, or they're going to pull somebody else out, and it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. What I would like to see is Christian get into sort of a mini feud with one of the annoying heels on SmackDown. The name that comes to mind is Heath Slater for some reason, but stop it, I'm doing a video, yes. Anyways, bring up somebody like Heath Slater that thinks they're going to be the next big thing, and have them have a couple back and forth, instances with Christian, enough to make a believable one-off match at No Way Out, on the way to Christian slowly getting better opponents. If that happens, great. If Rhodes gives him the rematch to sort of solidify him as the Intercontinental Championship, that will be even better, in my opinion. If it's not Rhodes, pop it down in the box below. Who would you like to see Christian defend his Intercontinental Championship about at No Way Out? Because, honestly, right now, guys, I don't know if it's not Rhodes who I'd like to see him go against. I just want clarification as to what show has the Intercontinental Championship, because I think it's SmackDown, but his big welcome back and first, conflict after winning the belt happened on Raw. Now, Raw is a super show, absolutely. I just, as a wrestling fan, would like clarification. The last one, and this isn't anything that I think has been laid out officially, this is just one that I would like to see. You guys know I'm a huge Miz fan, can't stand Santino. I really... If the facts didn't stack up the way they do, I wouldn't want the Miz wasting his time on Santino anymore. But Miz versus Santino for the U.S. Championship, to put the U.S. title back on the Miz and put him back on the path that he deserves to be on. Because, as I've said many, many times in many, many other reviews, whose wife did Miz fuck to get the booking that he's getting right now? Now, you might say to me, yeah, he's had a few random confrontations with Santino, but not enough to get him a world title shot. Now, I want you to think about something for a second. At the Elimination Chamber, in the respective Raw and SmackDown chambers, both Miz and Santino were the last people pinned or eliminated from the chambers. That makes them the same. What makes them different is how they did it. Santino looked like an absolute fucking goofball against Daniel Bryan, and Miz went aggressive as fuck on CM Punk for a good 5 minutes or so. So much the case that if it wasn't for the fact that I knew he wasn't going to win, I would have believed he could have won, if that makes sense. And I've lost my lighting. There we go. After that, you've got WrestleMania. Now, Miz was not the captain of Team Johnny. That was David Otunga for some retarded reason. But Miz was the one that got the victory over Team Teddy that was captained by Santino. So ultimately, the losing of that match was the responsibility of the captain. So in a metaphorical sense, let me say it again, a metaphorical sense, not a literal sense, but in a metaphorical sense, The Miz beat Santino at WrestleMania. Not only did he score the victory for his team, not only in the process did he fire Teddy Long, give John Laurinaitis the job he has now, and keep his WrestleMania winning streak alive. Oh yes, but he... it's another notch that he has against Santino, if you choose to look at it that way. The Extreme Rules pre-show. Now, here is where we get into frustrations on my part. Because I like aggressive Miz. Yes, he comes out and he cuts his cocky promos and he does a bunch of stupid bullshit. But in the ring, he's gotten more and more and more aggressive as the time has gone on. He was aggressive as fuck on Santino in the Extreme Rules pre-show, and in the last 2 seconds of the match, Santino once again goofballed his way to victory. Now, Beat the Clock came around, and Miz set the time to beat against Santino. Now, here we go. Here's the logic. Here's how we would build to No Way Out. He set the time to beat against Santino in about 4 minutes and 18 seconds, I believe. If I'm wrong, somebody I'm sure will correct me down in the box below. But he set the time to beat in a very, very short amount of time against Santino, beating him convincingly. Unfortunately, the U.S. title wasn't on the line at that point. Miz will come out at some point, point that out, demand a rematch, etc. Now, go to the Battle Royal that happened at Over the Limit. Now, the Battle Royal at Over the Limit was to see who was going to face the Intercontinental or U.S. Champion. Logic would dictate, because because Christian won and he chose the Intercontinental Champion, the last guy eliminated could go for the U.S. if they so chose. Because if the winner chooses the Intercontinental Championship, that means it's the most prestigious. The second most prestigious belt would go to the second last guy out of the match, which would be The Miz. That logic should be capitalized on, because Christian chose Cody Rhodes, which means Santino Marella more or less had the night off. Now, here's a lot of facts and a lot of figures that stack up to Santino versus The Miz for the U.S. Championship on pay-per-view, not on the bullshit YouTube pre-show. Now, we need it so that we can build The Miz. We also need it because Santino Marella as the U.S. champion fucking sucks. His only rivalry is with Alberto Del Rio's announcer. Yeah, let's think about that, and then we wonder why the U.S. title's credibility is in the toilet. Oh yes, so need to make it happen. Like I say at the end of these videos, hashtag push The Miz. Oh yes. Alright, that is about it. That's all I see coming at the moment. They will do something with the tag teams, I hope. We had 3 legitimate tag teams jammed into a battle royal at Over the Limit. Hopefully they get more recognition later on down the line. Hopefully Justin Gabriel comes back. And Justin Gabriel and Tyson Kidd can do their thing. O'Neal and Young can do their thing. Hawkins and Rex can do their thing. The Usos can do their thing. R-Boom can do their thing. Jack Dolph or Zigzwag or whatever you want to call that atrocious team can do whatever they do. We have a lot of tag teams. There's no reason we can't have a tag team division on the pay-per-view stage. The Divas, I don't really care. I like Layla as the champion. If they want to throw her a friggin' throwaway match, let her beat up on Alicia Fox and Kelly for a while. Whatever makes her happy until Karma comes back, that's fine, that's wonderful. Put her up against Beth again, even better. Give Natalya some TV time, even better. But let me tell you something, guys. Put it down in the box below. What do you want to happen at this pay-per-view? What do you think should happen at this pay-per-view? What do you think will happen at this pay-per-view? I'd love to know. I'd love you to tell me. I'd love you to keep that conversation going. But until then, until next time, kids, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to anybody that I've mentioned in this video, by the way, because they're all fantastic shooters. Don't be a stranger, and I will talk to each and every last one of you later. I'm tagging out. Bye.
Get up, come on,